Step into the arena of minds. On this channel, every move is a clash of strategy, every sacrifice a turning point, and every game a battle for glory. Watch two players push the limits of creativity and calculation, as we bring you the drama, suspense, and excitement of chess like never before. Levan kicks off with 1. Day 4, launching his pawn straight into the center like a brave foot soldier charging no man's land. The crowd murmurs, "Here comes the Georgian storm." Wesley So counters calmly with 1. And more than all is to a bansa I sin. And he, in a business is stood high, then will onwards, even if he is shad. In mu, alindenes, how. Nf6, his knight gallops out like a disciplined samurai, sniffing for weak points. The Filipino Grandmaster doesn't flinch, he's seen this 1,000 times. Levan replies to piliin. C4, throwing another pawn forward, doubling the pressure on the center. It's like saying, "You can't stop me, bro." The battlefield just got wider. Wesley deflects with 2. Ninin. Midgame. E6, neat and tidy. A small pawn move, but it opens a hidden arsenal, bishop, queen, and the promise of counterpunches. Levan develops 3 toy. Nf3, calling his knight into the fray. The white camp now looks like a well-trained squad, pawns in front, knights covering the flanks. Wesley slips in 3 by. And iyong. No.1. B6, a sneaky setup. He's calling in the dark bishop from the backline ready to snipe across the board. Levan senses danger and goes for Gay, building a fortress around his king. It's like putting up a shield wall before the storm. Wesley answers with 4, terrace. Indagisius 2D, endo, immunorentuin, estolium in case. No.1 endaviparnim pandel, in a pen, ensides dia moi. A6, and oh boy, the bishop jumps out like a sniper targeting white's weak pawn chain. Levan's center suddenly feels a chill. Levan fires back with 5D. QC2. Queen steps in early, maybe too early, like a general shouting orders from the front line. Risky move but gutsy. Wesley answers, "Enius, Bantsimin. Nandinmu, Enifane, Anisio. Antanmo." C5 cracking open the center with a boom. Pawns collide, dust flies. The battlefield is officially live. Levan goes 6. D5. thrusting his pawn deeper into enemy lines. "No backing down," he says. The position just got spicy. Wesley captures with 6. On. Hair. Endgame. Iyong. Danny. Benchigen. G. X5. Boom. Pawn takes pawn. The first blood drawn. The black e-pawn sacrifices itself for counterplay. Levan doesn't blink. 7 Kiwaspoe. Cuban Kement Kerets Taubis Iwi. CX5. Recaptures. Another pawn clash. White's center expands like a conquering army, reclaiming ground. Wesley fires back 7 Tochi. Una wanina. Penazin human. Came. Cannon. One Jedimon Senwin. Beep 7. Deploying the bishop like a sniper rifle, trained right at the d5 pawn. The board looks like a war zone already. Levan calls in reinforcements with 8 Pate. Bg2, bishop joins the defense, staring down black's forces like, "Come on, I dare you." Na, ananyan, 1G. But Wesley strikes, 8 Piawi. Ensen, Entisose, Enstisim, and Henenepelaninstein, and the Sikonaya. Est. Next 5. His knight lunges in, chops down the d5 pawn. The crowd gasps, first real kill of the game. The black knight plants a flag deep inside white's territory. Levan castles with 9 Terry. Oh, tucks his king behind a neat pawn fortress and connects the rook. The Georgian whispers, "Safe for now," but the battlefield still smells of smoke. Wesley replies, "9 she wish." Eats. Ended near. Bizavan develops his bishop from fight to Isevan, prepping his own kingside safety and quietly saying, "I'm almost tucked in too." Eneosin. White slides the queen to 10. Winstein. Gefuhr. Levan's queen strolls to the center, eyeing e5 and the queenside. Dramatic posture, equal parts pressure and provocation. Black pushes the light-squared bishop to 10 Trayin. On. He checks. Bishop from b7 lands on c6, sitting on a comfy outpost and glaring at white's central pawns. Levan sends 11. In the more, he has Sion Tuaji. Nafiv. Knight jumps to f5 like a saboteur, probing f7 and threatening tactics. The tension smell intensifies. Wesley calmly repositions with 11. With Kivanis Anadion Silmion Anolazim. NF6. The knight that raided earlier retreats to f6, consolidating defenses and shrugging off white's bravado. Woman, 12, Paris. N6. White's knight from e5 snaps the bishop on cx, chopping down black's long-range piece and forcing a messy reply. First big capture of the phase. Wesley answers 12 put Levan Pantsulaia. Endgame. Sin. Next GC. The bait knight races to chicks and slays the intruder. Black trades solidity for activity, and the board tilts into tactical rubble. Levan teases, with 13. Carrefour. Queen to f4, checking possibilities, sniffing for loose pawns, theatrical, hungry, and a little dangerous. Wesley castles, 13 pant. Zenanen, Emerseil, and Sene, Aneroa. No. Daddy. Oh, king to safety. Rook awakes. So's face is unreadable, like a general who just buttoned his coat before a storm. White develops 14 parent. nc3. The other knight jumps to c3, reinforcing d5 and b5 squares. Levan rebuilds his troops after the skirmishes. Wesley plays 14. Penning will and also yestime. Mo. N9. a6. Pawn to a6. A small prophylactic shove that prevents annoying jumps and quietly secures queenside structure. Levan strikes 15. bxt. Bishop from g2 slices onto checks and captures that knight. White regains material and keeps the board sizzling. Wesley recaptures 15. Pondera Moj. Indrazan, Indiana Siwa Kalmin, and Saimo Wishuru, and Dana, Aneda and Jani Day. The xccs. Pawn from Zevan rushes to chicks and eats the bishop, leaving black with a compact but dynamic pawn center. White bites back, 16. Panani Modoresio, Tilwin Shiwa Shuri. Queen leaps to chicks and gobbles that newly arrived pawn. Levan's queen prowls deep in black's camp, very much on safari. Wesley answers 16. Pour den boy Borustia, Pelisse 16 pair. Nun. Est. b5. Pawn to b5 chases the queen and expands on the queen side. End of part 1. The opening storm subsides, but the air is electric for what's next. Levan coolly drops 17. b4. Bishop swings out like a sniper, covering dark squares and keeping an eye on 7. The Georgian general sharpens his blade again. Wesley fires back, 17 tall. Onliambenaden. En kan always see with Saint Pancade. Munst. Q8. Queen slithers to Sate, linking the rooks and eyeing the poor pawn on h3 like a hawk circling its prey. White strikes boldly, 18 tall. Qf3. The queen moves to f3, forming a battery with the bishop. The idea? Aim straight, at the enemy king's heart. Wesley parries with 18. Andy. Oh, Eindin. Quasix. The queen slides in front, blocking the line of fire. It's like putting up a royal shield just in time. Levan advances 19. E4. Throwing another pawn into battle. He's not holding back, he's opening fire in the center. Wesley counters 19 point. No. Onai. Radite, activating the rook and saying, "All right, enough warm-up. Time for real tactics." Nain. Andido PJ. Andebion. Danelbese. White organizes with 20. Fiona. Rook joins the choir. Every white piece now sings in harmony, plotting something nasty. Wesley mirrors with 20. Nonestierden. Tenen Korish. Estemio Umine. Anawe Nao Kai. 8. Rooks face each other like twin cannons across a trench. You can almost hear them loading. Levan doubles pressure. 21 Tare. Radona, another rook storms to the center. The d-file just turned into a war zone. Wesley meets it with 21. And. Anti. Rx Don. Rook smashes rook. The first real artillery clash. The sound echoes across the battlefield. White recaptures 22 Tartosian. Rx Don. Rook takes rook again. Equal trade, but the smoke hasn't cleared yet. Wesley develops. His bishop, 22.3. And Tor, and Oberman, and then you would Ficolisein, had a minor roast of Pedido. Anni. They fight. Bishop retreats, guarding key squares, preparing a sneaky redeployment. Levan pushes, 23, there's Trune. F5. Pawn storms forward like a berserker. He's attacking space, cutting off black's pieces from breathing. Wesley calmly sneaks, in 23. Away. In. And. Ends is even. Knight slides to 7, regrouping the cavalry for a counterstrike. White's queen dodges to 24. QB7, eyeing b6 and the black king. She's hunting, she smells blood. Boom! 24. Anton. Inishto. Nix f5, the black knight leaps in, and murders the f5 pawn. Wesley's knight swings its sword, and claims territory back. Levan snaps back with 25. Picks f5. Bishop from far chops down that daring knight. You take my pawn. I take your head.
Ezjani. Onenek need horso. Anadionent choricho. In the name of Shinodan. Alidi.
Wesley grins and replies 25.
Ant. Enda.
Kupsefif. Queen recaptures the bishop. Now the Black Queen stands proudly in the center. Sharp, shiny, dangerous. Levan retaliates with 26. Q6. Queen snatches the pawn on a6. He's back to pillaging the queen's side. The Georgian general raids deep again.
I try.
Wesley responds. 26.
Este. Enemolenes.
B4, pushing his pawn like a bulldozer, clearing space for his army to roll through. White's knight jumps 27. Nafur, aiming to block that pawn's advance, a tactical barricade forming in the chaos. Wesley calmly plays 27.
Independent. And I knew.
G6, giving his king some breathing room and preparing a counterattack. Never underestimate a quiet move. Levan slides his queen 28. QC4, repositioning to strike later, he's like a sniper changing vantage points. Wesley retaliates 28.
N. Canon Wendy. And Yain. No.1. Ayo.
Q5, queen sips to a5, pointing at White's king. Oh boy, threats are flying everywhere. White responds 29. Arphony, rook slides over to guard. Levan fortifies his king like a soldier ducking behind a shield. Wesley goes 29.
Pettinen Bibliantimastoin. Pestekstein Killoin. On. Patkantai.
Qf3, and the tension skyrockets. The queen and bishop now both eye the white king. Viewers lean forward in silence. Levan counters 30. NB6. Knight from a4 jumps forward, targeting the rook on z7. Touch my king, and I'll touch your rook.
And it goes in Moy.
Wesley dodges 30 towards 30.
Inni. Elmenadorn. Bentony.
Edit. Moving the rook away and reinforcing defense. Tactical chess at its sharpest. White presses, with 31.
Helena is Shannon Curateer.
QC2. Queen back to safety, watching both flanks. Levan's regrouping, waiting for Wesley to blink. Wesley calmly deploys 31.
Enananic pace. Enin.
'Bj7, Bishop finally breathes free, and the king's side looks fully armed. Levan adds tension. 32 tau. NC4. Knight improves its post, eyeing the Zik square like a predator. Wesley finishes the part with 32.
Unreturn. Antis pain.
BD4. Bishop jumps to the front lines, locking eyes with White's knight, sparks about to fly.
Levan's knight jumps with 33.
Nafiv. A bold move, straight into enemy territory. The white steed looks majestic, but maybe a bit lost, like a tourist in hostile lands. Wesley answers, 33.
Anytime neo, and non, Tessenas choice you. Man no estol, milvio.
K8, queen sidesteps, keeping an eye on the knight. A subtle warning, one more step, and you're toast.
No money.
Levan roots with 34.
Paint.
NB3, pulling back the knight to safety, realizing perhaps that vacation behind enemy lines wasn't the best idea. Wesley responds 34.
Nena wub, yani nesi. Onaindan.
Kuexat vo, and boom. The black queen snatches the A2 pawn, a clean kill, elegant and merciless. Levan retaliates, 35.
Torst.
Next 4. His knight chomps the D4 pawn, payback time. The Georgian crowd cheers, he's not done yet.
Mingelbekatsin, and Rodlis eat poram.
Wesley counters, 35.
Indel, Demo.
Andy. CX4, pawn recaptures the knight, thud. The cavalry falls, leaving a crater on the board. Levan regroups with 36. Adon. Rook slides to done, trying to block the advancing pawns. The rook now stands as a lone defender. Wesley pushes 36.
N. LC.
Ento. D. A passed pawn on D3 appears, dangerous, determined, and marching like a tank toward promotion. Levan shifts his queen 37. QD2, locking eyes on the D3 pawn. You move one more step, I'll take your head.
Ubisi.
Wesley calmly replies, 37 tours.
No.1. Challenge Abonneert to Wizard. Endgame.
QC4. Queen supports the pawn from behind, forming a deadly combo. That pawn is going nowhere, except forward. Levan plays 38. Archon. Rook steps up, ready to block and counterattack, a desperate attempt to slow the black avalanche. Wesley responds, 38.
Ace. Mentioning in Kane. Can always swim, and the central border.
K4 Queen jumps to e4, centralizing, threatening checks and trades. She's in control now. Levan retaliates, 39. Rioni, lining up rook and queen to cover key squares. His position looks fragile but still alive. Wesley returns the favor, 39.
And Esau. And Tane.
QD4, keeping his queen active, a predator circling its prey, waiting for a misstep. Levan nudges, 40-20. High 4, pawn moves like a defiant shout, I'm still here. Maybe a bit of kingside breathing space, maybe just pride. Wesley goes 40.
Pain. Est. Ah. Nay.
Hey 5, mimicking the move. Both kings now have pawns flexing like bodybuilders, no weaknesses given. Levan solidifies, 41. Ardon. Rook slides back to defense. A wall stands between the pawn and promotion. Wesley coolly shifts, 41.
Petmemers in Oyston. And Nestimo. Banana. Ono Onaji.
Re8. Rook joins the party. All black pieces coordinate like a military orchestra. Levan tries, 42. Guthor. Queen lines up on f4, eyeing the weak spots. She's the last spark of counterplay. Wesley retaliates, 42.
Peterman Melwils, at Destiny Einstein. And Main. Penines Senowik Huden, Petsenesia. And
Quick speed 2. Queen Devore, another pawn. The scoreboard tilts heavily in black's favor now. Levan lunges, 43. Queen 6. Queen races for counter threats, perhaps checks, perhaps hope. The tension is unbearable. Wesley replies, 43.
Pistain Morgan, Pebenderolin Nishan, is. Innen. Amorn Leopoldisade, Pilviturop Sayan, can mind you there. In. Norvenis Anyway. Catch a rural fan, to which say.
Ritu Rook jumps forward, menacing, predatory, cutting off the white king's escape routes. Levan counters, 44 at test.
In Weberniastein, in heaven, and then Odo in Sure, and so.
B6, trying to guard the B file, a defensive stance, but the fortress is cracking. Wesley advances, 44.
Ein. Se. Inchemin in Hey, out in so. And Undermine, Wonitie.
B3. Pawn storms forward like a battering ram. The wall is shaking. Levan plays 45. KTA2. The king finally runs. Late to the party, but at least moving before it's too late. Wesley calculates coldly, 45p.
Interni, unmention penis as in a stakin, insane and tenicate. Indeed.
QC2. Queen slides to C2, lining up with the b-pawn, preparing for the killing blow. Levan blocks 46. Raune. Rook drops to A1, desperate to stop the pawn. It's David versus Goliath, again. Wesley grins and goes 46.
And nonsense. And the ban, and then is in, and mind you always stop, as this in, and Jane.
B2. The pawn steps one square closer to immortality. Promotion is now just a breath away. Levan refuses to quit. 47. Right rook checks. The crowd gasps. A final, fiery counterattack. Wesley calmly sidesteps. 47.
Hesti were innocent, and we were Istrian. 9. Onani. Oh. Omvein. Destinia.
Kat7. King strolls aside, unimpressed. Nice try, he seems to say. Levan fights on with 48. Rabite. Rook drops back to bait, clinging to the last hope. Maybe he can hold the line. Wesley finishes it with 48.
He won. Undanien. Enten.
Boneq.
Boom.
The pawn promotes. The battlefield erupts. The black pawn rises into a new queen, sealing Levan's fate. Checkmate is inevitable.
QE.
Wesley So stands victorious, calm, amid the chaos. That's the end of today's video. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really motivates me to bring you even more exciting chess games. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
In Santa Mona de Tunan, Connect Town Demon, Wood Foodus, Contending Hail in Sessiona.